What's up, fam? It's Brian Castrillo. Just watched Tales of the Walking Dead, Episode 5, starring Jessie T Usher, A Train in the house from The Boys. So glad to see him as part of the Walking Dead family. Excellent episode, but it was really strange, but I really enjoyed it. And as I'm watching it, the first thing I'm thinking about is like the timeline. When did this happen? Because it was very confusing, and I'm going to go through this as I'm talking about the story. So I decided as I'm watching this, I'm going to pretend this has nothing to do with The Walking Dead and just see where I go with this and just look at this as a one-off story. But we're starting, and Devon is like, he's running through this really creepy, kind of misty forest. And you got the people chasing after him. They got torches. And I'm like, there's no way that this could be within Rick Grimes' timeline. When the hell did this happen? So, like I said, I'm thinking of this as just a one-off story, nothing to do with The Walking Dead, and I'm just going to enjoy this as a horror fan, which, by the way, I am in the face of horror. Please vote for me in that. It's a big deal. I'm going to put the link in the video's description. You can check it out. You can vote daily every 24 hours, but again, I'm looking at this as like sort of a one-off horror story. And the way this kind of went, it kind of reminded me of Misery a little bit. A little bit of the village in there. But yeah, so we got Devon, running through the forest. This little girl runs up to him speaking French. So immediately I'm thinking, is this in France? Is this going to tie into, Daryl Dixon's storyline? What is going on here? And we see Devon's character. He's handcuffed to a walker, and he wakes up, and this walker looks like he's chewing on him. Immediately I'm thinking, man, this guy's lucky. And when you see the walker's face, it's like all like melted together. The mouth can't open, so the walker couldn't damage him. But he has like this, this cut or wound like right on his forehead. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And these people are chasing him, and they think that he's, he killed somebody within the town, and they want him dead. And this really funny scene where he brings, and maybe I'm the only person who noticed this, but he's hiding from these people, and he drags the walker into like this underneath a tree, this hole, and he's hiding there. And all I could see is the walker do, and all I could think about was Carl Papa, where the walkers are singing. And if you haven't seen Carl Papa, go back and watch it. Even I did a video where, it's in my TikTok. Maybe I'll include in this at the end, but where you could see the walkers, they're singing. It's just hilarious. But then he starts getting these flashbacks because the walker is talking, and the walker's basically blaming him for killing her, and he's getting these flashbacks of these two women. I believe their name was Nora and Amanda. They were sisters. And then the walker eventually says 897, and clearly he has a head injury, so he's not remembering stuff, and that's why these flashbacks are bringing him out. And throughout this whole episode, it's kind of just putting the pieces together like a murder mystery, and I'm really invested into it. I'm glued in the screen. I want to know what's going on, and I don't understand because it feels like it's in the 1800s or 1900s, and I'm really confused as to what's going on. And so he goes in this in this house, which is address 897, and he's looking around, and he's starting to see the flashbacks, and everything's pieced together. And one of the things, and if I jump around, I apologize because it was a weird episode. But one of the things that I noticed that was making me think as I'm walking, he's walking around the house, and we're going back to these flashbacks, is I'm looking at the way the lighting, and they have like, the old style torch lights and the burners with the old candle wicks, and the lights were clearly like late 1900s, or it was very old. The pictures on the wall was old. The bed was old. Like everything in there just kind of felt like we went back in time. Like, is this some sort of time warp? What the hell is going on? Even there was a picture on the wall, which was the Hamlin brothers, which were mid 19th to 20th century acrobatic troupe. They were theatrical producers, and they kind of had a influence on even modern day entertainment. So, and I'm looking at, everything throughout the house is like very old. And even as we're going through, seeing some of the other houses and area, stuff on the wall is very old. And so I'm like, are we in a time warp? What is going on? I'm very confused, because clearly Rick Grimes is not from this time era. Walkers weren't introduced back then. So that's why as I'm watching, I'm like, this is just a standalone horror movie. I'm not even thinking about The Walking Dead anymore after that. But there's clearly walkers in here. So whatever. It's Night of the Living Dead to me. I'm going back in time. So whatever. But as we're piecing together, Nora and Amanda, who are the sisters, they have their own children, and Nora and Amanda are like trying to bring him back to health, because when they're in this flashback, he has something that happened to his leg, and I believe Amanda was a nurse, and Nora, her sister, was helping, and he tells him that a bad man shot him, and he chose not to shoot the man. And one of the things that he says, and Walking Dead family, I need your help with this, because the next quote that I'm about to say is someone in The Walking Dead said it, or I've heard this in a movie and I cannot place it. If you know, please help me, because I'm trying to research it and I cannot find it. But anyways, Devon says, and I'm going to go look because I wrote this down, if you're going to choose saving yourself over others, you should make sure your life is worth saving. And immediately I'm like, that sounds so familiar, but I cannot place it. I thought maybe it was Tara Chandler who said it, but I cannot place it. If you guys remember, let me know in the comments who said that, because someone did. Maybe it's from another movie, or maybe I'm just going nuts. I don't know. And Tales of the Walking Dead is taking me down these weird paths. But so that was taking me back. And then there was a moment where he's holding a picture, I think it's of his family or something, and he's holding a PPP card. And for Walking Dead family, if you don't remember, when Heath went missing, there was a PPP card on the ground. So is this like Heath's brother? Is this a connection to Heath? Did he work with Heath? What is this PPP? There's a clear connection, or at least an Easter egg to Heath, or is there a connecting story? But then this is like in the late 1900s, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why that PPP card? Or is it just a random Easter egg, or is there a connection? But then we're going back to, them chasing him, and eventually they come to a town square, and he's saying, don't kill me, it's not me. And everybody's saying, where are the children? I'm like, did Madison come in? Is she taking these kids? Like, what's going on? And these people are basically blaming him for these kids' deaths. They're not missing. And he's, trying to remember all these flashbacks that are coming back. But they forced him into this van. And then there's an excavator on there. I'm like, okay, what the hell? Now, the first excavator was built in 1897. But now there's like this little kind of modern thing that doesn't match up with everything going on. And all I could think about is Blippi. And if for those of you who are parents, you already know where I'm going with this. Excavator, hey dirt, see you later. But that's all. Whenever I see him, that's all I think. And someone's driving, the excavator, and they're trying to crush it. But Nora, he starts saying that he remembers there's still a kid left, and it's Nora's kid. And there was bits and pieces in between where Nora and Devon became close after everything. But eventually, she's like, wait, my son could be alive. And then the crowd is, fighting. And then we see someone, take off in the background. We don't know who that is at first. And everybody's fighting because everybody wants Devon dead, but some don't. They want to know if their kids are still alive. And then we go back to a flashback and we see Nora coming downstairs and the kids, and there was one scene where he stabs one of the kids who's a walker, who's like handcuffed there, and he's remembering this, and again, I'm kind of paraphrasing and jumping through these scenes, but he remembers that Nora's kid was tied up in the back and he had saved her, and he took off, the kid took off, and like he tripped up, I guess it was Amanda actually who came downstairs, and she, fell, and Amanda is actually the one who is handcuffed to him, and then we find out that, as he's, walking through with the handcuff, is because he handcuffed himself to Amanda because she was trying to, at least at the point, I'm thinking that she's trying to kill these kids, and he wanted to stop her, but as he's taking her through, she ends up tripping and falling into I'm guessing a vat of acid, which explains why the face is all melted together and the zombie couldn't chew on him. And in comes Renaud, I think was his name, which was Amanda's son. And at that moment, I'm thinking, oh, he thinks that, he killed his mother. And even he said, he would, Renaud was saying this in the town, like when everybody was trying to kill Devon, that you killed my mother. But then we flash back to the present, and he finds out Renaud has Nora's son tied up, and he's like spouting off some crazy stuff. And he's watching, then eventually, he comes outside and he's yelling, Nora! And then Renaud comes out and he's chasing him, and he's basically, gonna attack him. And, Devon has his bat, knocks the thing out of his hand. And there's a point where, Devon falls down and he finds out that two of the dead kids are underneath this, and he's covered and basically we find out that Renaud was the one killing him, but Amanda knew, which is, the dead walker, the mother who is attached and to him. And she was basically, she was probably sick in the head too, but she was, basically didn't want to get her son in trouble, so she wasn't saying anything what her son was doing. And we found out, which I don't think I mentioned earlier in the video, is that, so this took place in Maine, which is close to Montreal, which is why the French connection, but they locked themselves in this whole area, gated around like a big fence, kind of like the village. But now back to the present, all these people come down, and Devon basically exposes Renaud, and then they all basically beat him up and throw him in the pit where he had two of those kid walkers who chewed off his face, which I thought was fitting for Renaud because he was clearly crazy. So basically what was going on is, the synopsis is somewhat like The Village, where they locked themselves up away from society. They spoke French because they were descendants of the French who were living in Montreal, but they were actually in Maine. And that's where the French connection is from. And then he takes off. But the question is that PPP card, is that a connection to Heath? Is this going to connect later on? What did you guys think of this episode? I thought it was really, like, watching it alone, it became really cool. I don't know if this is connecting to the greater Walking Dead universe, but that PPP card has got to be a connection. And so clearly this wasn't a time warp, but it was these people in this neighborhood basically they knew of the walkers, they used them as sort of like guards, but they locked everybody out. So they were aware of it, but they kind of created this old-timey village-like feel, which is basically what they're doing. But what did you guys think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you like the PPP Easter egg rather, not Easter card, but and again, that quote that I said, if you're going to choose saving yourself over others, you should make sure your life is worth saving. Who said that? This is not the first time I heard that. Someone help me. It's got to be out there. But again, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. But as always with my Walking Dead reviews right now, I'm giving a shout out, and this is like no other, and I'm shouting out Linda Athens, my good friend. She is an absolutely amazing artist. You got to check out her art. She does commissions. She has shirts for sale. I'm gonna put her link down, her links underneath. I want you to go check out her art. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead or even The Boys, she's done a lot of other fan art. You got to check, because that's literally her one of her names is Lindy Fan Art. But again, yeah, I'm gonna put her links down there. Check her out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy her art. As always, thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. TWD family for life.